Welcome to Maths and Science series. Today we'll be doing nature of roots for grade 11s and grade 12s. So don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, share and comment. So let's get started. The main important thing or the main thing which we are talking about or discussing about in the nature of the roots is the discriminant. Some they call it the delta. So the discriminant or the delta is defined as that small triangle equal to b squared minus 4ac. So this is the expression under the square root in the quadratic formula. Remember that. So the discriminant determines the nature of the roots of a quadratic equation. So we only determine the nature of the roots only in a quadratic equation. So the word nature refers to the types of numbers the roots can be, namely rational, non-real, equal and unequal. You see that sometimes they call it imaginary. When you see the word imaginary, you must know they are talking about non-real. This is the most essential thing or things which you need to know. So the discriminant equal to b squared minus 4ac. So that is the formula which we are using entirely in the nature of roots. So delta is less than 0 indicated no real roots or non-real. So they will ask questions like show that they give you a quadratic equation, then they say show that that particular quadratic equation has no real roots. So you put that less than 0 to that quadratic equation. So when they say it is real or equal roots, you equate it to 0. When they say roots are irrational or rational, you put the greater than. You see that? But you will understand it when we approach to questions. So if discriminant is a perfect square, then the roots are rational. So what is a perfect square? Perfect square is when we get the product by multiplying an integer to itself. So if a delta is not a perfect square, or if a discriminant is not a perfect square, then the roots are irrational. So a perfect square is when you multiply, for an example, 3 times 3 equal to 9. So that 9 is a perfect square. 4 multiplied by 4, 16 is a perfect square. Let's see our first example. So this is how they're asking questions. Show that the roots of x squared plus 3x equal to negative 2 are real. So we are dealing with quadratic equation only. So now we need to make everything to be in a standard form. That's our first step. X squared plus 3x. Then we transpose the 2 to be positive on that other side. So before we can equate or put less than 0 greater than 0, let's check what we are instructed to do. They say prove when the roots are real. So when the roots are real, just equate it by 0. Remember to check your notes. So when we are here, we need to check what the coefficients. We need to check our coefficients. Let's remember this. Check on our quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So the only thing which we are now interested in is to take the coefficients so that we can substitute them to our equation. So the coefficient here, the a, it is 1, and b we get positive 3. Then c, it is 2. So when you are here, just write your formula. Delta or discriminant equal to b squared minus 4ac. You see that? So when you are here, the only thing that you need to do, you need to substitute those variables or those coefficients to the formula. Alright, now you substitute them as they are. So we get our b as 3 squared minus 4. Then the value of a is 1 there, and c obviously it is 2. So when you are here, just use your calculator. So here we will get 9 minus, multiply minus 4 times 1 minus 4 multiplied by 2, it is minus 8. Then when you are here, obviously you get positive 1. You see that? So at the end of your answer, you need to conclude that the delta equal to 0. Now the roots are real. So you need to conclude all the time. Actually, you're telling them about what they asked you. They say show that the roots of that quadratic equation are real. So at the end of your answer, you need to conclude with whatever that they asked you. Remember that. So our second example says that show that the roots of y squared plus 1 over 4 equal to y are real and equal. So what we need to know, we need to make everything to be in a standard form. So y squared minus the y, we need to transpose it to that other side. So the first step, everything need to be in a standard form. So plus 1 over 4. So before we can do anything, let us just check what we are instructed to do. They say real and equal. So we'll go to our notes, we get that real and equal will equate to 0. So let's check our coefficients. So a, it is 1, b, it is minus 1, and c, it is 1 over 4. So let's write our formula: b squared minus 4ac. So let's just substitute what we have. I think now you are getting it. I'm glad. So you substitute as your coefficients are. So here it's minus 1 squared minus 4 open bracket positive 1 and 1 over 4. It is important for you to substitute. Don't forget this step. So when you're here, just use your calculator. So here you get 1, even here also you get 1. Just use your calculator. It is 1 minus 1. So 1 minus 1, it is what? Is it 10? No, it is 0. You are so clever. All right, so don't forget to do what to conclude about what they asked you. So the delta equal to 0. So has what are the roots which are real and equal. Don't forget that when you conclude, you just tell them about what they asked you. Remember that. All right, everything need to be in a standard form. You need to know that you make everything to be in standard form. You take out your coefficients, then you write your formula. Then after that, you do what? You substitute. After substituting, you conclude about what they asked you. Show that the roots of 0 equal to p squared plus 6p plus 8 are non-real. So everything is in a standard form. So p squared plus 6p plus 8. Before we can equate or do anything, let's check how we are instructed to do. So they say non-real. So non-real, when you check our notes, it is less than 0. So remember that. So now we must take what? Our coefficients. So the value of a, it is what? It is 1. The value of b, it is 6. The value of c, it is positive 8. So let us write our formula. So the delta equal to b squared minus 4ac. So let's just take our coefficients and substitute it to our formula. So remember, we take them as they are with their sign. So as it is positive 6, we take that positive 6. So if it was negative, it will be negative 6. So now we take it with its positive sign. So minus 4, the value of a is 1, the value of c is positive 8. So just use your calculator. When you are here, you will get positive 36 minus what you multiply there, you get 32. So when you here, just use your calculator, just be free. Now you'll get what? You'll get positive 4. So don't forget the conclusion part. So you need to say delta is less than 0, has non-real roots. Sorry. Okay, so you need to make sure that you understand this. I'm sorry that I didn't include the 0, but delta is less than 0 has non-real roots. So sometimes they can say imaginary. So imaginary and non-real is still the same thing, or no real roots. Show that the roots of 4t squared minus 19t minus 5 equal to 0 are real. So remember, real means you need to equate to 0. So 4t squared minus 19t minus 5 equal to, before you can put the equal sign, let's check that real. So real tells us that we need to equate to 0. Remember that on your notes. So I'm sure you're getting it. So here you need to take what? The coefficient. So a, it is 4, which is the coefficient of t squared. B, it is minus 19. You take it with its sign. So and c, it is minus 5. You only get nature of roots only in a quadratic equation. So let's write our formula. I'm sure now you are getting it. So I see that you're enjoying it. So don't forget to subscribe. Okay, now let's do what? Let's substitute. Substitution part, we take it with its negative sign. So all squared minus 4. Then the value of 8 is positive 4, and the value of C, it is minus 5. Don't forget to substitute. When you substitute, there must be the availability of the bracket. So when you're here, just use your calculator. Now when you use a calculator, get 361, 361, then you see we have negative on the bracket and outside the bracket, so it will be positive 80. So when you're here, just use your calculator. 361 plus 80, it is what? It is 441. Now the conclusion part, when you conclude based on what they asked you. So they say real, so delta equal to 0 has real roots. Remember that in your notes. So if you don't understand it, go back to your notes, you will get it. The fifth one, show that the roots of e squared equal to 3 are irrational. Remember that. So e squared, you need to transpose that 3 to that other side, it will be minus 3. So before we can do anything, they say when it is irrational, we put greater than 0. Remember that. Yes. So now we need to check what our coefficients. So here a, it is 1. So what about b? We don't have e, so b, it will be 0. So and c, it will be minus 3. So bear in mind, you need to know that. So focus. Okay, you write what your formula, b squared minus 4ac. So when you are here, you just do what? You need to substitute. I like this one because it talks about e. So and e, it is the first alphabet of my name. So now we need to substitute 0 squared minus 4. The value of a, it is positive 1, and the value of c, it is negative 3. I hope you are following. So just use your calculator. 0 positive 12 plus 12. Now the answer, it will be positive 12, not 120. So it is the conclusion part here. When you conclude, we conclude based on what they asked us. So delta greater than 0 has irrational roots. So all the time you need to know that when you conclude based on what they asked you. Okay, so I'm glad that you get it. Here's the sixth one. They say show that the roots of 11 minus 3x plus 3x squared are imaginary. So imaginary talks about non-real. So non-real and imaginary is the same thing. So let me just equate it by 0. I forgot that. So let's make everything to be in a standard form. So that's our first step. When everything's not in a standard form, minus 3x plus 11. So before we can equate or do anything, we need to check the word imaginary. So imaginary and non-real is the same thing. So you put less than 0 because it is non-real. Okay, so we need to take what our coefficients here. So the coefficient of x squared, it is 3. The coefficient of x, it is minus 3. Now and c, it is positive 11. So all the time you need to do that. I'm sure that now you understand it. So you write your formula. Then after the formula, you do what? You substitute the coefficients or the variables which you got. So here the b squared, we take b, it is negative 3. So we open the bracket, negative 3 all squared minus 4. The value of a, it is positive 3, and the value of c, it is positive 11. So when you are here, you just need to do what? You need to use your calculator. So you will get positive 9, negative 132 when you use a calculator. Just check to prove that. So just use your calculator, you get minus 123. So that is your answer. So when you are here, you need to conclude based on what they asked you. They say you must show that the roots are imaginary. So delta is less than 0 has imaginary roots or non-real roots. So that is the same thing. Don't be confused when you see that imaginary word. Show that the roots of x squared plus 9 equal to 6x are real and equal. So this is the seventh example, so we need to make sure that everything's in a standard form. Now we need to say x squared minus 6x. Remember, we transpose that positive 6 plus 9. So when they say it's real, go to our notes. Real and equal tells us about equating to 0. So we take what our coefficients as now we understand. The coefficient of a, it is 1. The coefficient of x squared is 1. The coefficient of x, it is minus 6. And c, it is positive 9. So we write what our formula, b squared minus 4ac. So we are substituting what the coefficients are. Now you understand it. Okay, minus 6 squared minus 4, the value of a, it is positive 1, and the value of c, it is positive 9. Just use your calculator when you are here. You get positive 36. Now when you multiply that, you'll get negative 36. So here you will get 0. So don't forget to conclude based on what you are asked. Delta is equal to 0 has real and equal roots. Don't forget that you conclude based on what they asked you. So that's the answer. This is how you're doing it. Yes, this is the interesting one. They say if x equal to 2 is a root of the equation 3x squared minus 5x minus 2k equal to 0, determine the value of k. Here we are solving for k, so we substitute x where there's x. Substitute that value of x, which it is 2. So where there's x, we put 2. Don't forget the squared minus 5 open bracket 2 minus 2k equal to 0. Okay, just use your calculator here. When you talk about 2k, we're not talking about 2000. Here we're only talking about 2k. Okay, so 12 minus 10 minus 2k, not 2000. 2k equal to 0. Okay, just use your calculator. You will get what? You will get positive 2 minus 2k, okay, equal to 0. Now we need to solve for k. We need to make k the subject of the formula. So how do we do it? We transpose that 2k to be positive, divide everything by 2 to make k the subject of the formula. So k is positive 1. So that's the answer. So when you are more interested in this, just substitute that k to that original equation and ensure that the roots are real and equal. Then leave your answer in the comment. I will tell you the correction. All right, do this one on your own. So don't forget to take the coefficients and make everything to be in standard form. All right, so don't forget to do this. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, don't forget to subscribe. Now also do this one, then leave your answer in the comments.